point in time because it's really not a proven therapy.
It was a risk Carmel was willing to take. And in November, she was admitted to Canberra Hospital for the procedure. 6 million of Carmel's stem cells were harvested from her bone marrow and stored in liquid nitrogen. They were then transplanted back into Carmel after she received a heavy dose of chemotherapy. But for Carmel, it was all worth it. Within days of receiving the transplant, her pain vanished, and she was able to walk again after 2 years of being confined to a wheelchair and using a walking frame. 3 months on, Carmel is back in Canberra for her first MRI scan since the transplant to see if the disease has progressed.
Well, I've taken out the representative views of what we call your flared sagittal, and there's no new lesions. It looks the same as before. I'll just show you up here, Carmel. And the good news is there's no hint of any new or active lesions. So we hope that we've stopped any progression of disease at this point.
Doctors caution stem cell therapy can't yet be hailed as a cure for MS. But Carmel believes she is living proof that it does have the potential to stop the disease in its tracks. And for her family, that is nothing short of a miracle.
I never imagined, and my husband never imagined, and my daughter never imagined I would come back home. I've got my life back and I've got a second chance.
My sister was diagnosed with MS January 09. Thankfully it hasn't progressed at this stage and we hope it doesn't, but for all of the MS sufferers, knowing that this treatment could eventually be part of mainstream medicine is just huge.
And the research can work.
Yeah.
And it affects people a lot younger than people think. Thankfully also Carmel has kindly offered to give advice to anyone who wants to know more about it. You can get in touch with her via our website, supercamproject.com.au. We're going to take a break right now. Back with more in a moment.
Something really special. Carmel Turner is a walking miracle after controversial stem cell treatment. The 37-year-old mum believes she had...
I might just add to that, just before Carmel comes up. Carmel, if you can sort of make your way up to tell us more about your personal story. But Carmel was the first woman in Australia, we're looking at history here tonight, first woman in Australia to receive stem cell marrow-bone transplant. And Carmel, if we get you around here, if that's okay.
Thank you.
And as you can see, she can walk.
Absolutely.
Why?
Oh, I won't stand on the stand. It's an absolute honour to be here tonight and be here at Rotary. And my name is Carmel Turner and I'm here today and I'm standing. If it wasn't for the treatment I had in Canberra, I wouldn't be able to do that. So it's huge, big smiles on my face today, and I'm glad I can share it with all the Rotarians here tonight, because I've got a message to send out to Australia, and I've got a message of hope that they never had before. It's a very important message that I have to bring to you tonight. The actual treatment, are we able to put the slideshow on? Yes.
Is there? You tell me when you want.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, the next one. Yeah. Oh, I have to thank Normie and Liz for coming. Thank you very much for coming here tonight. And my husband and my daughter actually are sick. We're all on penicillin actually, but so bless them for all their support. And I just want to say a huge thank you to them, and also a huge thank you to the 2 doctors in Canberra that saved my life, Dr. Michael Pidcock, the oncologist there, and Dr. Colin Andrews, the neurologist that actually had the tenacity to push it into this country, a treatment that actually works. Thank you. The history basically of me is I've got a Bachelor of Science degree from Victoria University, and after that I worked as a chemist, microbiologist and food technologist, and after that I also did a diploma in education at Melbourne University, Then worked as a high school teacher just down the road here at Canberra College. And I worked a lot with not only Greg Cornelius here to get the kids to uni doing science, but also with Darren Spargo down at Rotary Pakenham. And I did a lot of work there, and I sent a lot of kids there to university too. Next slide. Thank you. Yes, in 2005 I got married to my husband Scott, and then I got pregnant with Grace. And I know when I was pregnant with Grace, that was when the kids actually did their presentation to Rotary. Greg, I don't know if you can remember that. Yeah, they did. They came in, they did a presentation to you guys. I'm going to uni, yes, and that's wonderful. I see a few kids nodding there. So that's the kind of work I've been doing with you guys. I hold you in very high regard. That's why I'm back here tonight, because I know you are the people that are going to push it for this country. For the MS people, I guess, that ring me every day. I speak about 4 hours every day on the phone to people all around this country who want to know more about this treatment. A good example would be a gentleman said to me today, Carmel, I've been looking after my wife for over 20 years and I've got more from you in half an hour, he said, than I've got for my whole life from all these neurologists and doctors. Okay, so it's very interesting. Next slide, please. Unfortunately for me, having a baby is a real trigger for an aggressive attack. I've been going to doctors prior to having Grace. I worked full-time as a high school teacher. And what happened with me is, even though I've been going to doctors for 12 and a half years, I wasn't diagnosed with MS, unfortunately. You have to have an MRI scanned, okay? An MRI in the hospital, magnetic resonance imaging, and from that they can see you've got lesions in your brain and spinal cord and they know you've got MS. So with me, when I had Grace, I just had difficulty walking, I was falling. It is difficult for me to talk about me falling in front of my little one, little Grace. And her crying and seeing Mummy, I guess I just fell. I just had no control of my body, and I was falling a lot. So you lose your coordination and balance a lot with MS. So unfortunately for me, I knew it was quite aggressive at a very early age after Grace. Went to many doctors, and it wasn't until Ernie Butler here in Victoria diagnosed me positively on the 19th of February in 2009 with MS. Next slide, please. What I want to say, before I move on, is that when you get diagnosed with MS, a lot of MS people in this country are unaware that you actually have entitlements. So if I can just tell Australians in this country, as soon as you get diagnosed with MS, it's really wise to speak to someone like Norman McMurray here tonight from Morris Blackburn Lawyers, because he was the man that actually fought for my rights. He was the man that actually got me my entitlements of total permanent disability. Okay, you need to know your rights, you're entitled to know your rights, and he's the gentleman. And on my website, if you go under newly diagnosed for MS people, I've written all the contact details, not only for here in Victoria, but for every state in this country, so they can contact Morris Blackburn Lawyers. So I really can't speak much more highly of the assistance that I got from that law firm. MSN, M stands for multiple, more than one. S stands for sclerosis, which is lesions or hardening or plaques in your brain and spinal cord. Most people get diagnosed, the majority of them get diagnosed in their 20s or 30s, so just in the prime of your life. Okay, I guess I've got phone calls from people in this country that got diagnosed in their teens, in their 20s, in their 30s, in their 40s, in their 50s, in their 60s. So no one in this country is safe, I guess. And they believe it's got something to do with us, especially in Victoria, living further away from the equator. So further away from your vitamin D. It's really important to get 5-10 minutes a day to do vitamin D. Anyone can get it. It's mainly women that get it. Okay, 70% of people that get MS are actually women, and so women get affected more than the men. Victoria and Tasmania are the worst cases of this disease. So next slide, please. Okay, so with MS, most people start off with numbness and tingling in their feet. So you feel a numbness, and I remember 12 years ago going to the doctor and saying, what is this numbness? It just won't go away in my feet. I didn't get the right test, and so hence I just kept going. I was still able to work, so I kept working, and I just didn't think about it anymore. So if you go from your whole body, let's start with your head. With me, you get the plaques in my brain. I had lots of pain in my brain from the MS, so you do get pain there. You move down your face, you go to your eyes. A lot of people all of a sudden wake up one morning and I can't see either one of their eyes or both of their eyes. Most people it's just one of their eyes. And then when you have an attack like that, they give you a high dose of methylprednisolone. High dose of methylprednisolone, hopefully after a few weeks you recover, you get your eyesight back and you're okay. Not everyone gets it back, but hopefully you get it back. That's just how they treat MS attacks. We move down our face to our mouth and our side of our face. A lot of people get Bell's palsy, which is like paralysis. So they have difficulty speaking and they slur when they speak. Move down your face again, you move down to your spinal cord here. I had a lot of pain in my neck, had lesions in my neck here and in between my shoulder blades. So there's a lot of pain going on there. If you move down to your limbs, your arms and your legs, there's lots of numbness and weakness and tingling that you get. So I have inability. I mean, one time I went to a doctor saying, I can't lift my arm. Why can't I lift my arm? And that is MS symptoms. So a lot of people can't lift their arm or their feet. My girl rang me today, I can't feel my feet. I just can't feel it. And their legs, just weakness in the legs, so they can't have difficulty walking. So your coordination and balance, if you close your eyes, you fall. Okay, and a lot of people get it, a lot of young people get it, but also a lot of old people get it as well. So, you know, unfortunately, it's just how it is. Because I was on so much medication, I had a lot of difficulty sleeping. I was like a druggie. I was on drugs all the time for everything. As you can imagine, for all those symptoms, neurologists treat those symptoms through medication. And so I was highly medicated, and I was like, I had a tote, had a box of drugs. And, you know, my cognitive abilities, because I was on all those drugs, I certainly couldn't speak like I do today. Okay, next slide. Okay, so basically what's happening with MS is you've got two blood cells in your body, okay? Your red blood cells, which carry your oxygen, and your white blood cells, which fight viruses and bacteria. Viruses and bacteria in your body, unfortunately with MS, your white cells are confused. The police force in your body is confused. So what it does, instead of fighting those viruses and bacteria, it fights your myelin sheath. It attacks your myelin sheath in your brain and spinal cord. And if that's getting attacked, those causes those plaques and those lesions, and those myelin sheath gets attacked and causes those plaques to occur. And because your messages aren't getting through properly in your body, what happens is that you get those MS symptoms that I just went through on the other slide. Okay? Next slide. So the conservative way of treating MS is to go to a neurologist and they give you drugs to treat the symptoms. So you will go on roughly they offer like 4 or 5 drugs. Here are the books. Which drug would you like to choose from? Come back, have a look at it and choose which drug you'd like to go on. They don't tell you which drug you'd like to go on. it's up to you to choose the drug. So I read all the books and I bloody you should have seen me. Because I'm a scientist, of course I read it all, of course I summarised it all. I went back to my neurologist and said, look, I summarised everything. I'm going with Avonex because it's only 1 injection a week rather than 3 injections a day. I'm not going with that drug, I'm going for the one that's least injecting. So that was Avonex. Avonex was 1.5 centimetres into your thigh. So I had to build up the guts to jab myself in my muscle 1.5 centimetres. I swear to God, as a scientist, I knew I have to do this. It's the only way I can get through this. I just have to do it. So I did. Religiously, I did it. And unfortunately for me, it didn't work. Because there's less than 40% chance of any of these drugs actually working or slowing down the progression. So it didn't work. So next slide. Okay. My husband wanted me to tell you guys, and tell Australia really, that when a lot of people get diagnosed with this illness, they jump on the net. They find out where there are stem cell centres. And the stem cell centres that are getting offered today are in places which I wouldn't recommend to get it done because it wasn't the treatment that I had. So the main ones would be the Excel Centre in Germany, the one in South America and China, okay? Those 3 centres do not provide the treatment that I had. So it's a completely different treatment. It doesn't completely obliterate the faulty T cells. There's no chemo involved. It's just getting the stem cells and injecting it back into you, which isn't the treatment that I had. So just my message tonight would be, don't go to those kind of centres. They do not provide a successful treatment. You're just giving money away if you were to go there. And for a lot of them, it's like 50,000 euros, I think, to go there. Okay, so what I also wanted to pass on tonight, my husband's putting in all the trials. This is important. There are trials going on in America. The trials that are going on in Seattle, in Chicago. There's 2 trials there that have passed phase 1, phase 2. So they're going through phase 3 trial now, which after phase 3, it goes out to public. Yeah. So that's taken a few years. The reason for this is because it's 100% patient funded. So people who have MS in these countries, they can't go and have a treatment unless they have like 100. In Chicago, I think it's 150,000 Professor Richard Burt. And how many people have $150,000? Not many. And the one in Seattle is like 205,000 American, and so many people don't have that money in their hands. So the actual trials are going very, very, very slowly. So, but they are going. Yeah, next slide. Okay. So basically, because of all this going on, okay, the neurologists here in this country are reluctant to push a treatment unless it's past phase 3 trials. And you can understand that. They've got their life, they've got their credibility of their profession on the line, and they're not willing to endorse a treatment that hasn't gone through all 3 phases. And I understand, I'm a scientist, yeah, that's fair enough. So we're left here now in this country, okay, waiting for those trials to finish before we can really embrace a treatment that actually works. Okay, so next page, next slide. Okay, so with me, my journey of success of this treatment began when my husband got work up in Canberra in defence. And when it was up there, I saw the 730 report, which is actually the second video thing that I was wanting to show you, but we'll see if we've got time. And that was on Ben Lavery. So once we get time to show that, then you'll see all those medical people that you'll see on that report actually treated me. Okay, so I'm hoping we get time to show that. And that was a young boy that had it in Canberra. He was the first male that had it. He was 18 years old, and that's Ben Lane. And after Ben Lane was Carmel Turner. After Carmel Turner was Michael Tasmanian Copper, and then after Michael was Shay Pendlebury from Newcastle, Townsville. Yeah. So there's been 1, 2, 3, 4, including Ben Lane in this country. Next slide. Okay. Yeah. So that's we're just waiting for the trials. Yeah. Sorry. Next slide. Okay, so with me, with my treatment, it's a very specific stem cell treatment. The treatment I had, okay, it's a real tongue twister. It's autologous, hematopoietic stem cell transplant. Okay, it's a very specific treatment, AHSCT. So it's a beam, it was based on physicians from Italy. It's the Italian Milan beam conditioning regime for stem cell bone marrow transplant for multiple sclerosis. So it has been done in this, it's actually been done, believe it or not. It came out in the neurological review in 3 months after Grace was born. It came out in 2008, and do you know what? They've been starting this trial in Italy 10 years ago before that. 10 years ago. And all that evidence was put into that report on the neurological review, and I looked at it and I thought, why don't we bloody get onto that? Why aren't we doing something like that? Out of all those 400 people with MS that went through that trial, guess what? 100%, 80% of them, around roughly 80% of them, no longer have an MS attack. Their MS has been halted. Isn't that worth talking about? Isn't that worth saying to your neurologist, what is this report about? Why aren't they reading it? So if I had a chance here tonight to say one thing, is that that report, the 2008 July neurological review, the Lancelot review, if they had a read of that, instead of telling their patients, which gets me angry, that, no, you know, they tell their patients, you know, this is a new treatment, blah, 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 and Carmel must have had cancer. I did not have cancer. Carmel, to get that treatment, Carmel must have had, they said, what was the other thing they said? You grow eyeballs in your head, and you grow eyeballs on your spinal cord. That isn't true as well. That's another falsity that's been spread around this country, okay? There's a lot of things that they have been saying, and another thing they've been saying is that 80% of people die that have this treatment. That couldn't be further from the truth. It's only 0.8% chance of death. I reckon you have more bloody chance of getting killed driving up to Canberra. What do you reckon? Yes. That's it. Well, hey, I've lost my hair, but that's nothing to having MS. And it's growing back. Look, it's nice and curly now. So I don't understand. I believe it's people aren't educated enough, and that needs to be pushed. I've just been told by Dr. Colin Andrews' office, I actually spoke to him yesterday, MS Australia have now decided to get on board and donate $500,000 to this treatment, which is wonderful. And I think that's a real start to getting this treatment going in this country. I speak to all the ones that are actually going through treatment today in this country. We've got about 6 going through up there in Canberra. It's a slow process. It is difficult in that one hospital, you know, getting through, and they're going to have to write it up. Michael Pidcock and Colin Andrews. So they're going to have to write it up like a trial. And that all takes time. Just for actual treatment, so the previous slide. My first part of my treatment was the mobilisation phase. The mobilisation phase is where they actually get your stem cells, okay? Your stem cells that they collect are actually blank stem cells, so they don't have a specific job in your body to do. So what they did is they gave me a heavy dose of chemophosphamide on the 13th of September. And what that means is that those faulty white T cells attacking my myelin sheath, the majority of them was killed off at that first dose of chemo. And then I started to inject myself the very next day with the bone marrow stimulating drug, which is GS, yeah? And that was directly, it was a subcut, it was directly like a diabetic person into my stomach. I did that for 8 days. I had bloods every morning at 7:30 in the morning at pathology. And they found that I was ready to be harvested in 8 days in the hospital, in the apheresis machine, and they're able to collect my stem cells. Okay? So on 8 days later, they put a catheter in my groin, and then they collected the stem cells. They did that, and then after they collected it, it was stored in liquid nitrogen at minus 190 degrees Celsius underneath the hospital. Once it was stored, then the next thing that they actually did was kill off my bone marrow. Because that is where those faulty white T cells are produced, is your bone marrow. So they kill that off, and they kill off your immunity with another strong, heavy dose of chemo. Lots of chemo every day, chemo. Once they killed that off, they reimplanted me back with my healthy stem cells on the 3rd of November. The 3rd of November is day 0. I had that. And after I had the transplant they expect you, it's expected you will go down. You will go down because you have no immunity, and you've got no immunity, and you're 0. You're neutropenic, which means that you can catch anything that they said, anything that's around you can catch. So of course I'm in the hospital, so what do you think? I'm in the hospital. So I caught something, of course, didn't I? What did I catch? Clostridium difficile? Clostridium difficile, which is a bacteria in your gut, okay, in your gut, and because I had that was in a transversal column in my gut, I got that, and Michael Peacock said, right, we're going to treat that with the strongest antibiotics we can. We'll give you a heavy dose of the 3 broad spectrum antibiotics we can, and he did that, and the infection of the Clostridium difficile went. And the other infection I got was diarrhea from the hospital. Surprise, surprise. I got those 2 infections, but I got treated and straight away, and they got onto it straight away. So bless Michael Peacock, because he's a very clever man. And can you imagine, he's head of oncology in this state, this country's national capital. And can you imagine, every time Michael Peacock speaks, 10 doctors are taking notes. They're taking notes. This man, and also Colin Andrews, I said to both of them, you know what? Neil Armstrong once said when he first stepped foot on the moon, 1 small step for man, 1 giant leap for mankind. I say here in this country, as the first female to receive AHSCT, I say 1 small step for a woman, 1 giant leap for humankind in this country. Michael Peacock rang me and said, that is the most beautiful words I've ever heard, Carmel. I said, you know what, Michael? You deserve every one of it. You deserve all the hugs and kisses, adulation. I can't thank you enough. I will promise, I said to him, I will do my best to make sure that this country knows about what you have done for me. And that's what I've done. Next slide, please. So yes, I kind of talked about that as well. Michael did introduce me to a lot of VIPs from overseas. He had a haematologist from Poland that he wanted me to see, and this gentleman from Poland did his conferences and his talk on me and what happened with me. Because as soon as I had the treatment, even halfway through it, I'm like, Michael, I'm not in any pain. I don't have any pain. I'm taking hot showers. And he said, what, you can take hot showers? So I couldn't take hot showers before. The heat before, I couldn't take hot showers, I had to have cold showers. And I said, if I had steam coming out the shower room in the hospital. So he was very impressed with me. And he said, I have to tell, this gentleman, and he has to see you. And I said, yeah, I've got no pain. And look, Michael, I stand. Next slide, please. Like I said, there are a lot of untruths that are being said. The main thing is that doctors have been focusing on the fatality rate. Yes, 10 years ago in this country, okay, there was a doctor there at Melbourne University, Dr. Trevor Fitzpatrick. He did do a trial here, okay. Yes, I do believe you learn from your mistakes and you learn from having trials. I do believe, my personal opinion is that the chemo that was done in the mobilisation phase, he did it for like 3 months. I had mine for 1 day. So I think there's 10 years ago, that's what he did, and yes, I think after he did have a few deaths of him after, and that doesn't surprise me. Even though his treatment, he has done a clinical trial, we learn from that. We learn from that, okay? We learn what not to do. And then from these people today, we learn what we can do. Yeah? And that is the most important thing, is that we're learning what we can do and what we can do to save lives. The science is very tricky, isn't it? Because we can't see the cells. We can't see what's going on. Okay? The cells you only can see under the microscope. That's the reason why so little is known about what is going on with MS. Because you can't see it. You can only see the symptoms. Really important. Next slide, please. So now, I no longer have pain. Now I can tolerate heat. Now I don't have any issues with bladder and bowel problems. Today, I no longer take MS medication. Can you imagine? I had a box so big. I don't take anything. The only thing I'm on today is HRT, which is estrogen. Okay, I'm going through early menopause. I can tell you this today, having the treatment and going through early menopause is nothing to having MS. Nothing. So I can't stress that enough. I passed my driving test. I drove here tonight, everyone. And I'm cooking and cleaning and doing everything I guess that a normal woman would. And I take my little girl to early learning centre and drive her and take her there. And I thought, this is a miracle. This is a miracle. And I'm so happy and proud to be here and talk to you tonight. Okay, next slide. Okay, basically we're talking about quality of life. Okay, autologous hematopoietic stem cell transplant is about quality of life. Okay, these Australians need and are desperate and are shouting and are screaming for quality of life. I have quality of life today. Before treatment, didn't have quality of life. Isn't that worth fighting for? Absolutely. Yep. So we need to focus more on the quality of life, I feel, and that needs to be pushed. And instead of questioning the treatment, shouldn't we be focusing on what works and the quality of life of these people? There's so many of them that ring me that are going into nursing homes. That's not right, is it? 20-year-olds, people at the start of their life, people who are coming to other countries, people who are doing wonderful things. It's not right. It is not right. It's me angry. look at my website, www.msstemcell.com, and I've put up all my research and all my media, and I'm still doing lots of media. Have a look at that. You can Google me or email me anytime if you wish. I'm helping Australians all around this country, so really I'm on the phone about 4 hours every day with Australians in this country and talking to them. Also overseas, believe it or not. You wouldn't believe this. There's a beautiful lady in America, in Arkansas. She's been given, 3 months to live now with her MS. She's got 2 kids. And I got in contact with our beautiful friend there, George Goss, in America, who had the treatment. He went to Germany University Hospital. He had it. He believes he's cured of MS. That's on my website as well, his blog and his journey. So he's now working and standing today and walking. So she, bless her, good on you, Alyssa, she's actually going through treatment today, and she's been giving the okay from Heidelberg University, and she's going through treatment. She only needs, this poor girl only needs $40,000, and then she's off to get the treatment. So if Rotary could assist her in any way, I'd be really grateful, because she is desperate to get it, and she really does have very limited time to live. So that was one thing I wanted to bring up tonight, is Alyssa Wilson. And also the ones that are actually going here in Australia that are going through treatment, any assistance that Rotary could assist the families with staying up in Canberra for 3 months for the treatment would be greatly appreciated as well.
Thank you. Have a seat, maybe just for the last couple of minutes, there's